Hola, mi amigos. ¿Cómo estás? All right. So, all right. If you are under 18, do not watch this video. Click out of it right now because this is going to be a candid talk involving sexuality. Okay. So, better not be watching. All right. So, the coolest thing happened the other day. This was the day before my birthday, so that was the 6th, last Saturday. Well, when I made this video anyway. It was a little bit ago. Unless you're watching this a year from now. It was a while ago, but anyway. So, okay. In my line of work, I get to see these kinds of moments all the time. It's so cool. So, you guys have probably heard, if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about that guy that was like really putting down twin flames. And he was saying that twin flames are people who have let themselves go. They're fat and ugly and old, and they just can't get a regular guy. So they're holding out for somebody that's, unrequited love, that will never love them back kind of thing, right? If you guys remember that guy, I've never used a name. He knows who he is. But he and I had this really, really awesome connection before he said that. So part of him may even been like offended that I even brought up the twin flame thing. I don't know. But we had this really awesome talk, and then he said that, and I was like, ooh, ouch, wow. And yes, he's a Scorpio. So that does explain a little bit, right? But no, that is just not true for any of you who are like, well, is that true? It's like, for some of you, yes, you've let your souls go, guys. But it's not like that, because I know supermodels that are twin flames. I know perfect people, perfect bodied people who are twin flames, and it's not about that anyway. So he was just wrong. He was assuming. But the cool thing is that I hadn't heard from him for like a long time after that happened. Talked about him a couple times on the show. And then he came into me last weekend, and he was like, do you remember me? I was like, of course I remember you. And he sat down and we talked for like an hour about the transformation that he'd been through. It was amazing. I was so impressed by his maturity and his openness. And he basically said that he had, since we met, that he'd been going to counseling. And he showed me a picture of this like supermodel girl that he had been dating, and that things have ended with them, or were ending, I think. I'm not sure which. But he said that he had come to the conclusion that he said that he had this incredible connection with this girl a while ago, but she was very, very pretty, but not as pretty as these supermodel types that he's used to, right? And so we can kind of compare stories. Because I said, yeah, I've always gone out with very good looking men. And I don't know why that's happened. But it's, sometimes it has been part of my identity. It's kind of been like, if I don't have this gorgeous guy, then I don't feel good about myself, and my self-esteem lacks as a result. But as he and I agreed, you come home to those people and it's nothing but drama. A lot of the times, not saying everybody with a perfect body is drama. I'm not saying that. But, if you make looks your priority, if you make it all about that, you're going to be so sadly disappointed, and you're probably going to age very quickly and get a lot of wrinkles. Seriously, I've seen it. You're also going to be stressed out of your mind. You're also going to maybe get to a point where you're suicidal. You're also going to be sadly abused. You're going to be treated really shitty. And you're going to realize eventually, like with these karmic partners, what they're there to show us is who we're not. So, you try to pour out your heart. It's so funny because it's like you try to pour out your heart to these wrong people for you. And of course it's going to just be thrown in your face. It's like, what were you thinking? You were basing everything on their looks anyway. or basing everything on their religion or basing everything on their age or whatever it was. It was just, when you base everything on just what something should look like is that, when you do that, you're just going to end up trying to change each other into something that you're not, and it really sucks. And then you're going to hurt really bad, and then you're going to feel really bad about yourself. You're going to feel like, I'm such a coward for not leaving. I know I'm with the wrong person, and I just can't do it, because they're ultimately nice, and they're nice enough, and I've told them that I love them. It's like, so. Oh, I told this person I love them, so I'm going to suffer the rest of my life with the wrong person and keep that other person stuck with me when they could be like flourishing with somebody else. It all seems kind of silly, but it was just such a cool thing to have a talk with this guy and really have it out about what we've discovered about dating attractive people, or mediocre people, or even people with a little weight, or people it's like, when you have a really sweet connection with somebody, a really intimate, deep connection where you really get each other, where you really understand each other, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. You guys can get in shape together. You guys, it's like, I mean, I've gone out with guys. Okay. A little bit of my history. And I was very, very prudish for a long time. I think I waited till I was like 18, 19, 18, 17, 18. I don't know, somewhere around there. I was old. I mean, compared to nowadays, I mean, I hear everybody's having sex at like 14. I'm like, ew, 14? Like, what? Anyway, not judging, just saying, like, wow, that seems young to me. But, it's, I didn't really go out and sow any oats for many years. I think my late 20s, early 30s, I kind of like made up for it. I was even going to write a book on dating 100 guys, because I was dating multiple guys. I was dating a guy every night. And I mean dating. I don't necessarily mean having sex, but I was going out with all these guys. And even when I was juggling, I have to say this, I would tell them, I would let them know there are other people involved. And maybe sometimes I was even having sex with like people, but they knew they had competition. They knew that was the situation. And I never, ever advocate lying. No matter what you're doing, own it. Like, come on, if you can't face the consequences of whatever you're about to do, don't do it. Whatever you do it authentically. So if you're going to be out there and be all into polygamy, or you're going to be into swinging, or whatever you're going to be into, be that, say that, state that, live that, and make sure everybody knows that you're involved with. Don't lie. It just never ends well. So anyway, that was kind of my history. And then I got married and loved being married. Absolutely loved it. But the thing that occurred to me about all that time of being with all those different guys was that kind of sex is like, yeah, it feels good. It feels good. But if you think about it, it's like you're just sticking an object in you, and there's just a different face every time. And sometimes it's painful, and sometimes not, and sometimes it's like it varies a little bit, but it's kind of ultimately a similar experience where afterwards you're just like, who was that? Do I even care about that person? And they don't get me, unless you found a true love back then, like a soulmate or something. But so it leaves you really sad and feeling bad about yourself, and it leaves you with low self-esteem, and then you want more. And then you become like addicted, and then you like totally drop all of any kind of inhibitions, and you're having sex with everybody the minute you have a drink or anything. And it's just like, you're just throwing yourself out there. And the more you do that, the less you're valuing yourself, and these like, you're combining your energy with that person. You're like, whoever you have sex with, you're having sex with everybody they've had sex with too. So not only is the threat of STDs or pregnancies or things like that, but the energy of these people that they're interacting with and having sex with on the side over there too. It's a very, very dirty pool. I mean, here in Boulder, there's like sex circles. I've been invited to some of these parties, and I'm just like, that just makes me want to puke. It's like, I'm so not in that place anymore. And even when I was, I mean, yeah, I probably would have gone, but it's like, it's such a different level. And I think it's just, as you mature, you start to want something more. I mean, he and I talked about this, like you want to come home to that person that makes you feel welcomed, who gets you, who understands you, who will listen to you, who will feel, when you're making love, when you're having sex, whatever you want to call it, imagine this person, like really, if you haven't had this happen, and just imagine them just really, really getting you and loving you, every little piece of you, everything that's wrong with you, just accepting you as much as, well, hopefully as much as you love yourself and accept yourself. Because if you don't, there's going to be a problem with, you constantly needing validation from them. But the objective is to ultimately find somebody in this true love partner where you guys are actually partners in life, where you guys can crack up about stuff and easily move through issues and problems, where you can learn from each other, grow from each other, and have this incredible sexual experience. For those of you who are like, well, I don't want to, see the same dick for the rest of my life or whatever it is. It's like, who cares when you're with these millions of people that you've been having sex with anyway? It starts to blur, doesn't it? Yeah, it blurs. You don't even care about their face anymore. You don't even care about, like, it's just like one person after the other, after the other, after the other. And it never does validate you. It might make you feel pretty good. Oh, I had that person with such and such a body or with such and such status or whatever you want to get off on at that moment. But it's so temporary and fleeting, and you'll just be left more and more lonely the more you base everything off of that. Trust me, I've learned from that. So if you want a shortcut, just value yourself and your own opinions and not your own opinions, your own, what do you want? How do you want to live your life? How do you want to feel about yourself? When you come home, how do you want that to feel? Warm and cozy, or like ice, or like prickly, or like walking on eggshells, or like nobody gets you, feeling totally lonely in a relationship, feeling totally lonely having sex every single night. And yeah, I know you're out there bragging, some of you. I know you're out there like, ooh, comparing notes and taking points and whatever you're doing. I know that's not the right terminology. But I'm just saying, there are ways that you brag and there are ways that you like act like you're on top of the world. But I talk to you guys in private. You guys confide in me and you tell me what that really feels like. And it sucks. Ultimately, in your heart of hearts, it sucks. What everybody ultimately wants is to feel close to somebody. And you can't get better than having sex with somebody that you feel close to like that. And that may not be every single day, may not be 3 times a day, but but when it happens, it's like an expression of how you guys feel so deeply for each other. And how beautiful is that? And how much better is that? Even if you do have it, you have to suffer the rest of your life with this person having sex with just that person. It's like, if it's that deep and that awesome of a connection, who the hell cares? So, yeah, there's that. I thought I'd share that with you guys, not only to show you that the divine masculines are evolving, they're maturing in these deep ways, but to share with you my own journey of having been the divine masculine years ago and having been, I can't say that I was a player because I never played, well, okay, some of these guys used to tell me that I was playing games with them. And probably I was, but not knowingly, it's like I'm much more self-aware now. But I was always honest to as much as I knew to be. Anyway, so we all have to kind of go through that step and that stage. But if you're stuck in that, like if you're stuck still having sex with a lot of people, or just trying to do that, just know that there's something inside of you that you need to love and accept about yourself. that you need to value about you. It's not, you're not going to find that in somebody else. You know, it's the same thing as somebody being really needy in a relationship. It's like ultimately they don't feel like they're worthy of your love, so they will suck you dry looking for validation. You know, and I even know this one guy who's like, you know, he can't get past a first or second date without having sex with everybody he runs into. And so that's not going to, at this stage in his life, he's not going to be a good, faithful partner. Maybe he'll grow out of that. But ultimately what that is his looking for validation. He's looking for self-confidence through whatever means he's looking for that through. So we're all growing, we're all learning to become more self-aware and to love ourselves more. When we truly love ourselves, we respect our bodies enough to, and connections, deep connections enough to really honor and respect those things. And we're not throwing our bodies around to just anybody. It's been a long time for me. I talk to a lot of divine feminines that are in the same boat as me. And it's just like once Cupid's arrows hit and you've had a taste of that deep connection with somebody, it's really hard to go to that messy energy again, that dirty, gross energy. And, you know, so I know this girl and she acts so confident, you know, she's huge. She's huge. I mean, you know, she's huge in my book, like, and I got weight on me, but she's huge. And she's like flaunting it around like she is like a diamond. But you try to get her talking about true love and she's in complete denial. Just that is never happening for me. I don't even want it. I don't want it. I don't want to know or hear anything about it. And it's just like, you act confident, you put up a good front, but in actuality, in your heart of hearts, you're lonely and you're crying and it doesn't feel very good. You know that it doesn't. And so just know that it's all about self-love and self-respect and valuing yourself and valuing that deep human connection. You know, I even think a lot of people who are into polygamy, I think it's an excuse. I think a lot of them are just insecure. They're just really afraid that they can't ultimately be that husband type of partner to somebody. They just are totally insecure that they can even be in their power enough to take care of a woman in that way or a man. A lot of these people, when I get to talking to them, it's like they're just afraid. They're really afraid. So then it's like so many of these guys like put on this big like, ooh, I'm a polygamist, and it's like, and I am just awesome. I'm just so awesome for wanting tons of people. You know, it's like, really? And they put down monogamy, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. So, I mean, just like with, you know, with those animals that mate for life, it's the same thing. It's like, obviously they figured it out. They have that sweet connection, you know. If you have that sweet connection with multiple people, I guess that would work if you truly have that connection with them. But I don't know. To each his own, and I'm not judging anybody out there. If you're in the sex circles, you're there to learn it. You know, you're there to learn these lessons. Hopefully I can give you faith to believe in love again, help you love yourself. And if you're, you know, being a player, then be a player, but be a player that's honest. You know, tell people you're screwing around on them, or tell people like, I just can't commit, or whatever you got to do. But, and again, with the consequences, if you can't take the consequences, don't do the action. Yeah. So there we have it on that subject. and I'm, yeah, just growing and learning. And just like, you know, we just go through these stages. We just go through these stages and we got to learn. But I'm just here to maybe hopefully help you get from point A to Z faster by realizing the heart of the matter and getting to the heart of the truth of it all. So you're more likely to sleep around and be a player if you don't really believe that somebody will love you. It's because you don't love you. It's got nothing to do with any of this other stuff. These are just symptoms. All right. So love you guys. Have yourselves a great day or night or morning. And it's so funny because a lot of you like report to me. I listen to you every night and I'll be like, did you watch such and such video? Oh, I got through like half of it and fell asleep. I'm everybody's sleep aid. And I think that's because, my I have delta waves in my voice that tend to just really relax people. So I can see, why that's happening, but it's just funny from my angle. I'm like putting everybody to sleep. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you the next time I make one of these.